Okay, so there was a lot less, I guess you could call it, plot in this episode, and it was basically just like a fighting episode, like the whole, like 75% of it. We did get a little bit of a plot thing at the end of the episode, which really has me questioning what's going to happen when we finally go to the final arc or the final boss arc of this series. We'll get into that at the end. So, before we actually get into the episode, though, I want to talk about something, and I guess I probably haven't really been paying too much attention to this, but when they do the little recap at the start, this week, they dropped a little nugget that Don Purple, the Don Mercime, or whatever it's called, is no match for the Don brothers, whether it be in the Megazord or, when they're fighting. And I think it was Don Blue doing the narration. So, despite the power up that he got last week, again, that was more so in the Megazord. Still no match for the Megazord that of all five Don brothers, which I guess technically makes sense. But it's a little not a little Easter egg, but a little nugget I noticed. It just kind of glanced again. I don't really pay too much attention to those recaps from the previous week, but I guess I'm gonna have to start doing that because again, when they're dropping information like that, they might have dropped something else and I totally missed it. Like something could have happened and they recapped it at the start of the episodes and I just totally did not see it. So I'm gonna start paying more attention to those recaps at the start. Just again, little nugget, little interesting fact that they just kind of dropped. So to get into it, they had started with the basically the first fight before the intro against Don Killer. Go to the intro, go back in time to the start of the day where Kaito has a third book on him. A third. So he's out doing a press conference or whatever, talking about his book. Oh my god. Anyway, so they decide like, hey, let's clean up the shop. We'll kind of clean it from top to bottom. And so Don Yellow goes kind of behind the counter, and they find the safe, or they find a safe. And they're like, you know what? Let's put in our birthdays. So it was Don Yellow's birthday, then it was Don Blue's birthday, and then it was Don Pink's birthday. So the three of them together, the three combinations together, the three birthdays, make up the combination to the safe here. So they're able to open it on their first try, which... talk about a convenience. They get it open, and there's this little button thing you push, and it says, do not press. So they all look over at the Sixth Ranger, who's in the corner cleaning. He's like, that's my job. I got it. Runs over, grabs it, pushes the button. You start hearing sirens, and then all of a sudden, the whole thing starts to shake. Kaito comes back just before things start to shake because he hears the sirens, apparently. You can hear him around the whole city, so... why no one was reacting, I don't know, but Kaito was. Maybe he had like a little warning system in his Zenkai blaster or something, I don't know. Comes back again, then, everything starts shaking and whatnot. We switch over to Toro's perspective, where he's delivering a package. All of a sudden, big explosion comes down from the sky. It's Don Killer. And he's like, okay, well, I'm just going to take you out right away. Blast him with some, I-beams. Toro's able to, transform really quickly and kind of just not really deflect, but hold off the blast with his with his sword. Yeah, Toro has eye beams too. No. And then we get a scene. Trying to remember how that all happened. I guess what happens is we kind of go to this monster of the week. Not really, like, it doesn't really affect anything. The monster of the week comes back. She comes back at the end. They beat up her and, at the end of the episode. But they go to this bridge area after Toro's kind of able to escape the fight. And we see the White Cerebrian is, on another date with a guy, and again, asking her typical questions like, "Hey, is that love to you?" When he's kind of like, "Hey, like, oh, you're sweet, you're beautiful," blah blah blah, grabs her hand and whatnot, and of course she's not amused. And then the guy's girlfriend pops up, and he's like, "Oh crap!" and starts running away. She throws her purse at him, and then she flips out, starts screaming in the air as Don Black shows up and says, "Hey, like." So he talks to the Cerebrian, the White Cerebrian, and goes, if you keep acting like that, you're never gonna get, real love, and you're gonna get yourself, heartbroken from a human. And she's like, that's not possible. From a human? No, that's not possible. I'm a Cerebrian. There's no way. I'm way better than humans. And so she goes on like, hey, like, you're not somebody still in the bestial world. Like, she's still hung up. So, what do you, like, you're not doing anything for her. Like, and he goes like, hey, like, just, we're not talking about that, okay? No matter how far apart we are, we're still together. We're still boyfriend and girlfriend. And, she's like, what? Like, what? Like, makes no sense at all. But before the conversation can continue, the other girl that was there turns into a monster of the week. They start fighting. Everyone else pops up like the normal traditional thing. Then Don Killer, who is flying around the city, senses, as the scanner said, sense, where the DonBrothers popped up, goes there, beats them up, blows them off of the bridge thinking that they were on, starts fighting them more. They, are getting killed one after another, just beaten up. And Toro's like, hey, like, we gotta retreat. Like, we gotta get out of here. So Don Black splits up, goes his own way, gets caught up with the Don Killer, who just starts Hulk smashing. Like, if you think Avengers 2012, just back and forth. And then we go around to a, I guess, like an underground tunnel where the four of them are hiding out, and Toro's like, he defeated. It's like, there's nothing we can do. We can't beat this thing at all, no matter what. It's designed to kill us. It's going to kill us. It's only going to target us. There's nothing we can do. And it looks like Toro, but it's just whatever. It's kind of just an aesthetic joke. Is they're like, oh, that's for aesthetic, and that's why it looks like me. It's like, okay. So Toro tells them like, hey, like, just say your prayers. Go do whatever you want to do for the last remaining time you have before you die. And so he leaves. He's like, I got packages I got to deliver. Dips. Switch to Dom Pink, who goes home, hugs Mio, who, again, came home at the end of the last episode. Starts saying, like, hey, no matter what, I'll always live on. Make sure I always live on. Goes out, starts writing a death letter. Don Killer shows up before he can, finish it. He's like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go down fighting like a hero would. Goes, starts to fight him. Gets ragdolled again. Just like Don Black, just gets ragdolled. We see Don Pink shows up in the hospital, and Don Black's there. Obviously, again, they still don't know who. They don't know each other. Still don't know the secret yet, which I think is so dumb. We're 37 episodes, 38 episodes in, or whatever it is. Maybe it's 39. I don't remember. And they still don't know. And so they're just like, yeah, I just fell down a flight of stairs. And so they're both like, yeah, like, we agree with that. Like, that's what happened to us. Then we switch to Don Blue, who gets into a contest of strength, I guess you would call it. And then he kind of gets his arms broken, ragdolled again by his arms thrown around. So he's in the hospital, and you just kind of see him in the cast, just his upper body's in cast and whatnot. Then we switch to Don Yellow, who is by a waterfall out in, I guess, the countryside, who, is drawing manga. Toro pops up and goes, that's terrible. This is bad. Throws the tablet at her, says, it's not good. You just keep going. Keep trying. Keep going at it. Don Killer pops up, and Toro's like, hey, you know what? You're not dying until you make that better. Goes into the fight. She's like, okay, you know what? I agree with that. I'm going to go in and fight too, and I'm going to make my manga better afterwards. They start fighting. Because it's 2-on-1, it's pretty easy for Don Killer to do anything, but Don Killer kind of toys around with these two instead of just ragdolling them like the other three. But again, it's probably because it's 2-on-1. So Kaito pops up. They, starts, using the Zenkai blaster, shooting at him. Toro goes, did that kill it? Big cloud of smoke. Did that kill it? Did that get it? When has that ever worked? When? I can't name a single show where it's just like, oh, we're gonna shoot at it and it's dead. Like, it's never worked. How, like, I get it, you're an alien, but it's never, like, any series ever. Ever. This has never worked in any series ever. Don't ever ask. Be on your guard and be ready, because it's never worked. I get it. You're an alien. You probably, again, yeah, whatever. But, so just as, you know, they're about to get back and do, you know, a fight with Kaito there, so basically 3-on-1, about to, you know, all get killed. Well, I guess I kind of skipped over the Cerebrian part. We'll talk about the Cerebrian part at the end too, because that's kind of like a subplot thing. So I forgot about that. My bad. I forgot about that. Because that's when, you know, Don Killer's kind of ragged down the three of them. The Cerebrians were trying to ambush them and whatnot. So again, we'll talk about that. It's like a subplot thing. So anyway, back to the, you know, main plot here. The three of them about to start, you know, getting their ass beat essentially. When Don Killer shows up, and I kind of skipped over that too because that was kind of a little bit of a subplot too. But Kaito went and met you know, Toro's dad, in the pocket dimension. He is called a true hero by Toro's dad. So again, somehow in this timeline, I don't know what, again, maybe, I hope we find out, I do hope we find out, because, again, Kaito's been built up as this mysterious figure, again, no Zenkaijers around him besides him, but he has the cafe, so again, that's why I think it's like an ultra-dimensional Kaito, say that 5 times fast, so he's kind of, you know, saying like, hey, like, it's been activated, you know, what are we supposed to do, and the dad goes, have you heard of Don Killer? And he's designed to kill the Don Killer. So then again, we go back. Well, kind of, that was a little bit earlier in the episode, but you know, back to the fight. Pops up. They start fighting, evenly matched. This kind of weird comparison, but I thought of like it's like a, you know, like a stalemate or whatever. But the thing that immediately popped into my head, which kind of was recent, was for Marvel's What If, they had Infinity Ultron versus like was it like, no, not Doctor Strange, I forget what, maybe it was like a Killmonger or whatever. Whatever, if you've seen the What If, you know. But they had that like standstill where it's like they were, you know, evenly matched, and that's what I got from this. And I'm thinking maybe that's, you know, new enough where they maybe took the idea from the Marvel What If, and again made it their own. But you know, again, they're at a standoff, fighting each other. They end up going up into the air, into the sky. While they're fighting though, Monster of the Week again pops up. Toro transforms into gold form. They all beat up the monster. Monster grows big. Beat up the monster with the Megazord. Come back down to Earth. And this is where, you know what? No. Let's save that third subplot for last. Let's go back to the Cerebrians here, because the end of the episode, again, is very interesting. So the Cerebrians part of this throughout the episode is after Don White, sorry. The Cerebrian White, you know, sees Don Killer, goes back, reports. That's off screen. She reported it off screen to them. So Sonai pops up while Don Red is delivering a package and saying, hey, like, since he's supposed to be, you know, attacking only you guys, we'll try to, you know, fight him and whatnot. And Don Red's like, hey, like, don't do it. You know, this is our battle. Who cares? Stay out of this. So then again, later in the episode, when they're trying to ambush him, ambush Don Killer, again, as he's going around kind of, you know, beating up the Don brothers, we see the three of them are, you know, go out, step out in the road, kind of make themselves known and whatnot. And what happened was Kaito had kind of spiked, I guess you would call it, a parfait, a banana parfait, which Don Killer decided, you know what, I'm going to go in and stop and get a treat first. Didn't have to pay anything. And so he kind of spiked it with mustard to kind of, you know, corrupt the system inside Don Killer. And so the Cerebrians kind of start attacking it, and then all of a sudden, Don Killer, who again is, you know, corrupted by the mustard, is trying to, you know, clean himself out, starts attacking the Cerebrians, and the Cerebrians like, what? Like, you're not supposed to be attacking us. Like, do you know who we are? You're only supposed to go after the DonBrothers. And so Sonai's like, oh, I'm out. You know what, Toro? You were right. I'm out of here. So they bounce. And they go back to their pocket. I assume they go back to their pocket dimension because we don't see them for the rest of the episode. They're there for, again, it's probably the first half of the episode throughout, kind of sprinkled in. But as soon as they start the fight and they realize, like, hey, we're no match, like, he's attacking us too, like, this is not a good thing, they're out of there quickly. And so Sonai was the first one. He's like, hey, we're leaving. And so he starts sprinting away, and the other two Cerebrians like, whoa, hey, wait up, I was not expecting you to retreat here. So again, they took off, and again, that's kind of their part in this episode. Just kind of, again, adding time, kind of stalled time. Then we'll move on to the very end here of the episode, which again is kind of like a third subplot. So at the start of the episode, the Sixth Ranger is like, hey, I gotta go back to my village for kind of his dad, which is, he's a police officer, took him in and whatnot as a baby, and so he's like, hey, it's his birthday today, I want to go celebrate that. So he pops up at the house, no one's home, starts kind of decorating it, and we kind of see throughout the episode, you know, it's more decorations, and then after, you know, the Megazord battle, we see, again, the Don Killer and Don Killer go off to space, fly away. We go back to the Sixth Ranger for a final time, who is at a table, and I guess his dad knew that, you know, he was there at the house or whatever, because he's like, hey, like, what's up, I'm home. And so Sixth Ranger's like, oh yeah, you're home, let's go, let's you know, celebrate this and whatnot. Goes off to, you know, say hi, and on the table is a penguin. And I believe, again, they have not talked about this in a while, but I believe penguin is supposed to be the most aggressive. I believe, I guess the most dangerous. So the question is the Sixth Ranger a penguin? Is he a penguin bestial? I don't know. So we've had the crane, we have the penguin. Oh no, wait, maybe the cat was. Maybe it's the cat. I forget what it was. Basically, cranes are not a threat. Cranes are like the lowest of the low for bestials. I thought penguin was. Because they haven't really shown penguins. We've seen cranes. You know, we've now seen cats too recently. But we haven't really seen a penguin bestial. So I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe the penguin is supposed to be the strongest of the bestials. So, again, that's interesting. Is he a bestial? I don't know. And we'll jump into with the preview for next week. We're not getting into it, apparently. Unless there's going to be a little nugget somewhere in the episode. But the preview has showed nothing. And the Sixth Ranger's out there fighting. It kind of feels like a filler-ish episode. But at the same time, it's not, because I have this feeling maybe the White Cerebrian is going to die next week, because they're focusing on her and Don Black, who are being, I guess, chased by... I guess we don't know if it's another Cerebrian, and we don't know if it's a bestial, we don't know if it's, you know, a monster of the week that's just really strong. Oh, by the way, oh my god, I forgot to talk about this too. By the way, speaking of, you know, as they're running away hurt and injured, in this episode, if you transform and your bones are broken, transforming heals you. Heals you! So I guess that's canon throughout all of Sentai now. Probably all of Rider now too. That's why they can fight. They even showed x-rays of these broken little pieces of bone in the body, scattered all over inside the skin, inside the muscle and whatnot. The bones are like this way, where like it's supposed to be connecting. They're kind of like this far apart. They show it, they transform, they go that, you know, flash, and they're straight up, they're back together, everything's fine. So apparently, and I guess, you know, Don Black could just transform next week and be all better. So, apparently that's now a canon thing throughout probably all of Sentai. That's why we can always see them stand up and fighting no matter what, even if they're like really injured. I guess they just officially made a canon of how they heal. So, Don Black can just do that next week. But he probably won't. So, again, Esther on the run and whatnot from whatever monster. The other part of this preview is that, Don Yellow is, I guess, taking a driver's test or something, and she's like going, like, they show the car going backwards on a windy part of a road for a driver's test. We see her kind of crash into some cones and a bunch of other stuff. Okay. Okay? So, yeah, that's, again, a lot of fighting, and then just a lot of, like, little nuggets in there, just here and there, and kind of all over the place. So, let me know your thoughts. Are you happy with how they, canonized healing in the Sentai multiverse, I guess, because they're not supposed to be in the same universe. Or is that only Rider? Maybe that's only Riders is a multiverse. I don't know at this point. But let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know down below if I'm right about the Penguin being the strongest. Again, they have not talked about it in a while, so I forget. They'll mention it. I'm sure they will mention it. Probably whenever that episode comes up. Whatever happens in the future, they'll probably mention it again. But again, I can't remember how long ago they previously mentioned the ranking of the Beast shows. But yeah, let me know again. Also, your thoughts of the whole episode. How do you think the end's gonna shake up now? I just did a kind of my theories and whatnot. Was that 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago for how the series would end? I'm already thinking differently than I was 2-3 weeks ago now that we have a little more information here. So, I'm excited for this. I'm actually really starting to get down with this series. It didn't start out hot for me. I wasn't really excited at the beginning, but this kind of deeper we get into the series here, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of filler either. It's kind of helpful. They're, again, sprinkling a lot of stuff alongside the filler. But, yeah, I'm starting to really like this episode, and now I can't wait. Now I'm ready to see how this series ends. So for now, like the video, share the video around, don't subscribe, and I'm out of here. Peace.